All right, so welcome everyone. My name is Jim Hambel. I'm an elementary phys ed teacher from the Bronx, New York, and I'm happy to be here talking about Buncee. And also with us is Ida, who works for Buncee as well.
Hey there, everyone, again.
Okay. So the purpose of this webinar is I've had the fortune of, I've been looking for lots of different apps to engage in, and especially during this hard, difficult time. And one of the ones I found is Buncee. So I teach in the Bronx, in New York, but this really is not about me. I wanted to pay it forward and share a great resource that you can use. It's very user-friendly. This webinar is geared towards physical education teachers, and I'm kind of like, oh, soup to nuts. I'm kind of explain everything about how Buncee could be honestly good. So if you, so if Buncee can work for you, and it could pretty much work for any teacher. So what I mean by non-traditional webinar is that I'm not going to be reading from some slides. I'm going to be pretty much showing you my screen. So it is going to help with some questions if you have it, and I'm going to just kind of showing you how the Buncee looks and how it is and how to set it. Give me 2 seconds, please. Okay. Wonderful. All right, so I'm going to share my screen and get this party started. Okay. And thank you all for coming here. All right. So a little bit about Buncee. Ida, could you describe a little bit more about Buncee, the company, just so people can kind of get an idea?
Yeah, absolutely. So first of all, for those of you tuning in from New York, we are a New York-based company, but in terms of what Buncee is, really at its heart, it's what we call a content creation tool. And really the idea behind it is to help make it easy for students to easily visualize and communicate and really engage in what they're creating in their schoolwork. So that's really kind of at its heart what it does, but it's really a web-based tool. You can also access it on mobile devices, including any sort of tablet, but there is an iOS app for it too.
Yes, and that's what makes Buncee. Buncee's, one of the things I love about Buncee is how accessible and user-friendly it is. So if you can see my screen right now, this is the Buncee Dashboard. Sign up is you just sign up, you make an account, and this is where you come to when you create your Buncee. Buncee has so many different features. If you're not really sure where to start, you could click the Ideas Lab. So I'm going to kind of show you some of the features of Buncee and how the website looks and what it does and all these. And then I'm going to kind of basically go through how to make one and hopefully show you that how easy and how friendly, like I said, it is to do. So this is the website. You could go on here. Buncee is also great because they're coming out, if you follow them on Twitter or on the website, there's always coming out with new different kind of, there's a lot of Buncee's gearing out for things, for activities for the summer. They actually just dropped they came out with some new features for gamification, where the more you use it, the more different features and different animation things. There's lots of different things. For us phys ed teachers, I like it because to be honest, many websites don't really have a phys ed feature, but Buncee really definitely had. And when I reached out to Buncee and I became one of the first Buncee ambassador, which Ida is in charge of the ambassador program, they are very receptive. So I said, oh, this is a great idea. And they will come out and they do their best to work it. So they're really trying to help fill that need. So you could go on here. There are signs, and even might say it might be for signs. What's great about it is that you click create this. Once you have an account, you can edit it and you could kind of make it your own. That's what's really good. It's really good community because there's lots of different things you can see. And if you find something like, oh my goodness, I could totally use that, it's super easy to do that. So let me go back to my dashboard. Let me just kind of go over a few features. So if you've seen some of my webinars, if you know that I'm the Shape Phys Ed Council Chair, I use that to make it, I want to like to think Buncee is kind of like Google Slides, but to the next level. So these are all the ones that I've made. And I want to go over a couple of special different ones I've shown so you can see what I'm talking about. Okay, so here's the Ideas Lab. So one of the ones I've made is, I did a fitness literacy, a literacy webinar last month for pedagogy, oh, I always mess that up, and I was able to do it. I have my background on my gym. I'm able to do it. What's one of the great features is that I could add audio to it. It's an immersive reader. You're not sure what that was. It's great because especially for English language students, of any language. It will read it for you.
Jim Hambel. Masters Childhood / Special Education 1 to 6.
Click on this button. Click on the book function. It will also translate it. I'm curious if it goes to Spanish, to French. It will also read it in that language as well. And all I have to do is click it back. So Buncee is really great because you could do it. You could put pictures. You can put videos, which really, I like it. This is Melanie Levenberg. What's really great about Buncee is that when you put the video, some apps make it hard where if you click the YouTube video, for example, it takes you to another website. Buncee is very good because you put the video in the slide and it will play right there. Let me show you what I mean.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Melanie, and
so it plays right there, plays beautifully crisp. That's one way. Another way I've done it is you've probably seen a lot about the Bitmoji classrooms. Buncee is really great because it's very compatible with other different software. So this is my Bitmoji classroom that I made in my gym. Very simple with the Bitmojis. And my Bitmoji up here. I just have to click, use the copy image address. Once it loads, it takes a second. These are my Bitmojis. And when I want to do it, I just click copy image address and it will be there as well. And it's really great because Buncee, if you've used Flipgrid, there's actually a function on Flipgrid where you can leave a Buncee slide. What's great about it here is so that I say this wasn't mine, or if I leave this for my students or leave this for everyone else, I can say, oh, I want to leave a comment. You can leave a comment. There's the immersive reader. They can like it. It's also cool because if I leave it for students and I want them to see my videos during the week, or if I wanted to see an idea, if you know what's going, if it's getting a lot of views and a lot of traffic, there's the views button. And it's very simple and easy to share when you want to do it. You could share the code, the email. You can decide if you want people to, different functions, if you want to autoplay. Do I want to let people copy it? Do I want to share with other Buncee users? Do I want to use like kind of an RSP? Buncee is also not just good for educational things. I actually made Mother's Day cards from it. There's a social feature where you can share your Buncee if you wanted to say, cool, I wanted to share this Buncee with other phys ed teachers or with other teachers as well. I can do that. If you want to, it also can even download it to a PDF. So those are some of the great functions, features of just a, okay. Thank you, Rita. So I'm just going to show you. So this is one of the first ones that I made. I took from openphysed.org their Shadow Sports, which is basically playing without equipment. I'm in the Bronx, access to equipment, you know, space friendly is definitely an issue. So I could leave one slide. I could leave a lesson and have the students answer and view content. I could leave it top down. Academic content, watch the video, can you leave teaching points, there's all kinds of things. And if I want to just leave the videos, I can. And if you're a fan of retro gaming, like I am, you can do that. And if you want to put a little music, you can make it fun, make it, this is, my students love this. This is, like I said, the one I've had, the first one I pretty much ever made, so that's why it has a lot of views on it. Students love it, and they could click and they can kind of choose at their own pace, which is really great. It's good for not just lessons, but also physical activity. So these are some of the things I've used Buncee for. There's a lot of different features, but this is kind of just, and I'll show you in a second how I kind of put them together. Buncee just came out with these things. If you can see it, he's doing some jumping jacks, and it's in the home. Buncee, we've been talking, and I said, Buncee, you know, I've been doing a lot of remote learning in her home, and they've been very interested. So they created some gifts of people moving at home. This actually just recently came out. There's also a function where now they're in the gym. Let me take a quick break. Let me look at some of the questions. Yes, so now you've probably seen some of the cool ones, some of the ones that I've made. Let me get to the fun part, okay? So I'm gonna get more technical with it. Okay, so this is where you see ones that have been shared with you. You wanna go to the Ideas Lab and look at some other ones you can. This is great because these are really great notifications. You have different badges. I made 50 bunchies. I made a board. I'll explain that in a second. It tells you, it's very, very intuitive. It's very good at letting you know very quickly. what's going on. Oh, 3 comments, students have comment. 1 student joined the class. Here's your, for just technical, just so you see it, you could look at all these things. These are over here, just so you understand. What's great, if I click this, it goes back to the red one. What's really great is that, like in New York City, we have Microsoft Teams. If I want to create a Buncee, I could start it right over here. So I just have to just sign in. I could share with students. I could invite by email. I could schedule a meeting, and it's one-stop shopping. Definitely, yeah. So what's my biggest thing? So in New York City, just to have an understanding. So in lieu of Google Slides and how does it work with it, Google Slides, they're 2 different kind of, the best way to describe it is they're 2 different platforms. So this is kind of Google Slides, they function similarly, but Google Slides, it's really more geared towards Google. This is kind of more of its own platform, if I describe that correctly, Ida.
Yeah, if you don't mind me chiming in. So
Sure.
to answer your question, Michael, Buncee does integrate in several different capacities with Google Classroom. So if you're on a Buncee for School sort of plan, what you can do is actually roster sync. So what that means is that if you don't want to create all of your different student accounts and you've already managed on Google Classroom side, you could totally pull those over. So that's the first one. And then the other parts are that as you create your content on Buncee, so whether that's your interactive lesson or your student's project, and maybe you want to be able to manage those on Google Classroom still, you'll be able to easily share that out. And so from the dashboard, as you create your Buncee, you could actually share it as an assignment to Google. So let's say if you want to continue doing that assessment, you could totally do that there. Or if you want to post it as an announcement or any sort of class instructional material, you'll be able to see that option and then share it out to Google Classroom. So yeah, so we definitely work with Google Classroom in that way. So in that sense, there are things that are reminiscent of Google Slides. But in any case, Buncee is totally its own app.
Right.
There's a lot to it, as Jim is showing, but you could create your content, whether you're a teacher or a student, very user-friendly in that sense, but at the same time, your students can engage in discussion in a very modified or moderated way, rather. And at the same time, you could also access Ideas Lab. So if you want to access different ideas, you don't know where to start, you'll be able to access those templates from there. So there's a lot to it, if anything. I hope that answers your question.
Yeah, so what's great about Buncee is, as Lita was referring to, is that there's a lot of, I feel like it's much easier for students to use, to make, because Google Slides is the learning curve. It's very, I love Google Slides, but it's a little bit technical. Buncee is a little bit more, like I said, user-friendly, and I'll show in a second. So you could have different types of Buncees. Like I said, when you you have a class, you could set up a class. And you can, like Google Classroom, it kind of functions like that, where you can have a class, you could set it up, you can import it, these are examples, and then you could assign assignments. This is one that we're using for my school as well now. And one of the things you could do is you could actually have the students make a Buncee. And they can use, Buncee doesn't just have to be like a Google slide where it's a presentation. It could also work, it could also function as posters, as cards. It's really the creative side of Buncee. So that's one of the functions you can have. Down over here by boards, boards are great because you could kind of leave a question. For example, I wanted to leave the question for my students to answer. Let's answer together. And I could leave Buncee, and you could see down over here, oh, I've had 145 views. It's very information friendly. So if you're wondering about data and looking at the data and seeing how much engagement you're having, and just kind of from a number side of view, it's very good with that as well. When you click on a board is great because, like I said, you could use, like, write your name and teacher, answer the question. So I can leave actual Buncees that I've made, and I can, for reference for students to click on. And what's great about it is that students can comment. They could comment on the actual Buncees themselves. They could also comment on the actual, and you could use it as like a shared discussion type of thing. That's what another thing. So those are boards. So now let's get to the fun part. Let's make some Buncees. Okay. So now I'm ready to make my first one. Okay. Hope everyone's feeling good so far. Please, no questions. Let's keep going. So I want to create, so these are some I have. These are all the ones if I wanted to copy and duplicate it, or edit it, or rename it, you have it, all the ones you have done over here. You could use them for interactive quotes. You could use it for, if you wanted to just use like hyperdocs and hyperlinks and just post videos. I use this. One also, going back to the Google Classroom thing, is that what's great about Buncee is that it's very compatible with different software. Whenever I lay it out, so if I make a lesson and I want to leave the videos for students, I don't have to just post each one in Google Classroom. I just upload the Buncee. I just go to share. I get the link. I get the code, and they don't even need an account to see the Buncee. If your students don't have an account, or if you don't have an account, you don't need to do that. You just could see the Buncee right there. I have a lot of tabs going on. So I go to create a Buncee 3.0. I know I got a lot of tabs going on. That's okay. Actually, small amount from when I usually do my remote teaching. So you can, as I was mentioning before, go to my recently used. You want to search. As I was saying before I even started, one of the things that wanted me to make me use Buncee, or was very inviting about Buncee, is that they already kind of have some pre-made templates. Health fitness tracker, physical activity logs, sports challenge. These are actually very well thought out, and you could even, what's the sports challenge? You could even premiere it. You could even, so a lot of times it says draw or drag the sticker. When you assign it, when you have your class set up and you assign it, students will be able to do that. But I'll show you a little bit more about the question and how to make it an assessment piece once I start. Great question so far. So that's fine. So where do I get my P content? I've been like I was saying, part of the reason I want to do this is because I wanted to share, because on Twitter, the Shape Coronavirus resource page, openphysed.org, a lot of Shape Standards, New York State, I mean, pretty much whatever I could find and whatever I think that is going to be useful and my students are going to want to do. Because like I said, my students are predominantly indoors in apartments, and I have to find content and activities that will be that. I like to focus a lot on the Shape health-related standards and sport-related standards. So that kind of gives me flexibility. So like if we're working on cardiovascular endurance, we can focus on Tabata. Then we can revisit Tabata in 2 weeks when we talk about muscle endurance. So there's a lot of flexibility that way. And yeah, it's a good question. So, I mean, pretty much I like to, I feel like imitation is the sincerest form of flattery. So if it looks good and it looks great and it looks feasible for me to use, I will use it and do it. Like my first Buncee ever was I didn't see any videos on Open Phys Ed for their shadow sports. So I made my own YouTube channel. I made it and I was able to bring it. And actually, you know what? I'll show you. And that was part of it. And you could what's great about it is you could do, like I said, you could just link the videos. So if the students want to do the lesson and just do the video again, just do the videos on their own. So the replayability is great, is high. If you also wanted to lay it as a lesson, there's lots of different things. So I kind of do a lot of mix and matching. Plus I know my students like fitness drumming. They also like bowling. So that's, what's great about Buncee is that you could really, like I just said, you could use it in an assessment piece. You could use it as make an actual lesson with it. So that when you are actually like when I go live with my students, I'll actually do something like this where I'll share out the link on Google Classroom. They'll be able to see it, and we could actually use, and I could share it with them. And we could actually share my screen. And we could actually look at it together, kind of like what we're doing right now. So if I wanted to use this template, I could click it. Like I said, there's all kinds of different ones. So this is where you're kind of targeted grades. Honestly, I use it for elementary, but I mean, there's really, I would say all up the way to K-12. Now it might, you might want to create them, but there's an option when you assign in the class, when you want to assign it, you can actually have the students make their own Buncee. So I foresee that being a lot more tangible for the older grades. Question?
Oh no, that was me. Sorry.
Okay, no, I thought so. I was
Uh, Yeah, no, just to chime in there. So Buncee is truthfully used across different grade levels. So the way that it's designed is really meant to be as easy as a first grader being able to use it. We even have folks as young as kindergartners. But, you know, given all of the different robust, powerful features that are part of it, obviously there are several adults that use it too. So we actually have university level users. At the same time, you know, we even have folks that are grandmas using it to share out their cards to their family. So it's very user-friendly. In terms of the target grade levels, sure, there's a lot of engagement for sure in elementary, but at the same time, it's definitely K through 12 and also in secondary school, post-secondary.
Thank you,
Yep.
Ida. Yeah, I didn't. Ida could definitely speak more towards its far-reaching content. Like I said, I'm use it mostly just for phys ed, but that's, yeah, I definitely could see that there's foreseeable. If I could foresee that it could really be used for any grade, and even kindergartners can use it. Oh my, that's awesome. So
Yep.
when you're in your, your page, you can rename it. This is a template, so if you want to make it yours, it's called Sports Challenge. And it's automatically saved. You don't have to click 16 different buttons. It's automatically saved. What I like about what I like about about something like Buncee is that I want to preview it. I want to see, is it going to be good? Because I know compatibility and making sure that it works on different devices is important. And you also want to make sure you're lead. So you've got the preview function up there. If you click it, it will take all the work that you've done and you could use it and you could look at it at preview. And you can make sure that this is what the students and everyone would look like once it wants to load. And then you can toggle back and forth to see that everything is working. I want to go back and edit. So I'm excited because my computer's running slow because I have many tabs open, but I want to show you that how easy it is. So over here, what's great about it is that it pretty much has everything on this page, as you can see over here. It has text. Now if I click on it, it will go right to that. It has every little thing that you have on it. So as you can see, some of these slides, there's quite a different few things. So if you click on the bowling ball, it will take you right there. You can zoom in, you can pan, you can do the size. If you're like, oh no, I'm not really, it functions in the same way that Google Slides does, so it's not, but I think it's a little bit more, the layout is, I would say, definitely a little bit more, more for everyone. Not just user-friendly, but it's more for everyone, I should say. Because say on this bowling ball, I wanted to add audio. I have over there, I can record audio, I can upload it. I can even use ones that I've already done before. The recording feature is like one of my favorites. So this is great if you wanted to record audio instructions for your students. They also will have that immersive reader. Yes, you can import GIFs. Yes, you can. So this plus, but you can see all these different, you want to do text, you want to do shapes, you can do drawing. They have Buncee 3D. So if I want to put up of the human body, I want to do its dragon, the human body, I could definitely do that there. Oh, yes. You could add Bitmoji. Oh, yes, that's when the Bitmoji, I know that, so I made actually mine with Bitmoji, and it worked just as well. And I want to add, so if you go to recently, so all these different little features you can do. Yeah, oh my God, I'm just like scratching the surface because these are, I'm very excited because Buncee, these are brand new. I actually just shared with them. Oh, yes. Is it accessible via laptop or phone? I prefer I like it on my laptop best just because you can't really function and edit it as well, but it does work on both. The app is really good on the phone. Yeah. So just showing you want to leave a Buncee message. There's all kinds of, so it can function if you want to have your students talk about health and you want to have them do a poster. There's all kinds of different posters. There's lots of different things. I don't want to go through everything, but like I said, it's kind of, it's fun to just kind of peruse and just look at through your own. If you want to do a 360 image, it's there too. If you want to do, now this is probably the one, so we'll go back to the gift question. If you wanted to upload, you can do your images, your documents, my videos, and the amount of files that Buncee does allow you to upload is actually very friendly, user-friendly, so that if you wanted to do it, actually, if I can, maybe I can show you right here. I actually have, so you would upload it, and it would go right there. Like I said, the one thing up, and there you have your gifts. I say gifts. I'm still not 100% sure if that's the right way to say it, but what the great thing about it is that I'm sure we've used Google Slides or presentations, or there's times where you share it and then for some reason the gifts don't work and it just becomes a still picture, but Buncee is true to form because once you share it, it will work. And this, you really don't have to worry about that. That's one of the great things about it. You don't have to worry about things working. I love that. So they have, Buncee has their own. This is also one of my favorite features. YouTube, image video, image URL. If it has a URL or a website to it, there's a lot that you can put in that you can upload to your, and as you've seen before, and some other ones that Buncees that I've made, you can, the video will pop up right away and it'll be there. You could also embed a video if you'd like, that works as well. But if you want to record a video and edit in right away, if you want to take a photo. Now I noticed some people were about the QR code. Definitely, you want to make a QR code, scan in there. Now, you want to leave it for the students to have to be able to answer. So when you assign it to a class, you can leave the question. I'm going to just do something for the ease of sake. What day of the week is it? Or if I want to add I already just did multiple choice, sorry. If I want to add a longer response question one, free response question. So that when you put it on and you assign it to, so say I made this, I know it kind of looks kind of crowded, but if I want to say, well, you know what, I really don't think that's working here. I just press my delete, my escape, and it's done. You could click right on the thing and you could enable, and you could get rid of it right away. And because sometimes in Google Slides, it's you have to pick and do different layers. This one you could go right here over here to the side and you could do it. That's what I like about it the most. So, and I keep, so I want to kind of show you a little bit more what I'm thinking. So say I put this question, I preview it. Like I said, I would not necessarily send this with any students, but just show you how it kind of looks. Okay, so I go back. So I notice that there's 2 people seeing it. That's myself. And so that question comes up here, default question, default answer. So what's great about it is, so now you've made your Buncee, you want to share it, you have your classroom set up, you have your classes and your students set up. I'll go back to where I was showing you before, how to put it all together. It's kind of hard because you could even test it out yourself with a student class. You go to Buncees, you go to your classes, you have your classes set up, you would assign it. How do you get the student answers? So it's going to be kind of hard to share, but so let me go back to the other one. So you assign, hold on, sorry about that. Let me kind of show you how it works. So I have my class set up. I'm going to do, I add students, it's super easy. Mr. H, you can even want it Mr. Hambel, that's me. Mr. H2. It's already taken because I've done it a couple times. You want to use one password. Let's see. And it's super easy like that. You want to add student list over here. And when you're done, so that's how you make a student. Mr. Hambel. Why isn't it out of the, oh, what's it? Oops. So now it's saved, okay? You want to download your internet. So this is my, so I could edit the student, I could add students. Now I go to the assignment too. Yeah, so I have nothing, so I want to add an assignment. I can make a sample. Do I want the students to submit a Buncee on their own? So they'll see the Buncee slide that I've done it. And I could also make them, one of the requirements of it to do one on their own. Say, follow, type right, follow the slides, make the questions, make a Buncee on your own of how to use Buncee. And it's just like Google Classroom, or in the sense where you could boom, 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 and you could really control. I want it out, so I really want them to see what Buncee I was doing, so I could actually refer to it as well. So it's like one, I like to refer to as one-stop shopping. You control the level of feedback, no feedback, after submission, you really control it. So that way, when you assign it, once a student starts doing it, you'll see the submissions part over here. No students really have started doing it. But you'll be able to see, students will have to go in it. They'll be able to look at the Buncee, they'll answer the questions on there. And just like Google Classroom, you'll be able to see their, if they answer like a Google document or other kind of assessment tool, you'll see their answers and you'll be able to give them feedback right away. And you'll be able to see really pretty much also, one of the things, so 4 students have left, that was my sample class. Oh, one submission was started. So it will tell me that the sample class that I made, a student actually, me, myself, because I was testing it out, a student actually started the assignment. So when you like on Buncee, Mr. Hambel's PE class. So you'll be able to, so your little bell over here, the notifications tab will be your best friend in the sense that it'll help you stay informed. Now, that's how you can assign it, and that's the assessment tool bit. So as Ida was saying that with the stars, in the Google Classroom, it's definitely I haven't had a chance to do it, but you can upload your classes from Google Classroom and make it even more compatible. What's the question? I see a question so far. Well, we could use the embed code to embed Buncee on a blog, Canvas LMLs. Oh, also here, if you want, if you wanted to use it right now, and since like for me, school's almost over, and and you could also give the class code. Students can sign up on their own. They can make their own account, and they could log into, and they could kind of almost like Google Classroom, where this is the class code for my little physical education class. They could use the code, they could sign up, and it would take them right there to my classroom. I'm gonna take a break. Okay. Any questions so far? You're gonna met a bunch of people, all their active features intact. Yeah. Thank you, Ida.
Yeah, and if you don't mind, sorry.
Yeah, that's.
Yeah, if just to expand on that, so in the instance of, let's say that you created your content on Buncee, and it might be a newsletter announcement for your entire school community, or even just for your parents, what you'll be able to do is actually create that and then post it onto your school site, or maybe your own personal site. I know a lot of educators have been able to create those as you guys move to a remote setting. So be able to create all of your content on your Buncee, post it onto your site, embed it there, and everyone will be able to see it. So it won't be a static image. You'll be able to keep all of the interactive features that Jim had shared all intact.
Thank you.
Yep.
Yeah, that was a feature. Like I said, I've become very proficient. Like I said, there's even still features. And if I could talk a little bit more about sometimes I'm sure, as you all know, you reach out to a company with a question. Buncee's very good. They host webinars, I think, pretty much every single day. So if you have a question, if you need a hand, they like to make it so that you're not left out in the cold. There's lots of informative information, and they get back to you fairly quickly, which is, I have to say, very commendable, and which is great, because there'll be times I've had questions, and the amount of the turnaround time where they get back to me is actually really awesome. So if you do have a question, And like just even here being here today is great because they're very, I want to say they're very concerned and they really want to help out. So that's also, not many times you see that, but that's definitely one of the great features of what Buncee is. So there's all kinds of so those are so I made a Bitmoji classroom. You could use it for hyperdocs. These are some. These are just came out. There's all kinds of different things you could use Buncee for. So those are my favorite features and things to do with it. Boards, you can make Buncees, and it's really, so if you follow me on Twitter, Jim in the Gym PE, you could also see that sometimes I'll share it because I want to be able to, like I said, we're working on equality over here. And one of the things I wanted to do was I actually took pictures right away. You can make it, here's it a little bit more as a lesson format. If you're familiar with Flipgrid, it will, that you can leave links. And so it will read it here. This is a lesson format. Here's the things. And I could put a clip and it'll take me right to, so if I wanted to make a link to a website and have a clickable feed, click a link on a picture or something, it will work very well. That's the one thing about Buncee, as Ida was just saying, that the interactivity is what I think makes it a very valuable resource, because it's not, it doesn't, I don't feel like it takes long to create or it's that hard to create, but it's also good because you could pretty much share, like it work on a Mac and on a phone. It works on a pretty much any part of the premium part of the Buncee. Ada, can you help with that one? I'm not 100% sure what's the big difference.
Yep. First of all, if you sign up for your account, we're definitely here, as Jim mentioned, to support our educators, especially through this time. So if you sign up for your account, it's actually free of charge at this point. But in any case, creating a Buncee is also involved in the free version of Buncee. Creating a board is also, you'll be limited by the number of Buncees and boards you'll be able to create. But sharing capabilities are there. I think at this point you wouldn't be able to send as many RSVPs, but essentially a lot of what Jim has shared is also available on, what Jim is sharing is available on the premium plans.
Okay. Peter, have you seen any questions? I'm taking a break to take a breath. And I appreciate it.
So far I've been able to answer on the side here, but I know that Jim has covered a lot. So I did want to leave an opportunity too for you all to share perhaps, anything else that you'd like to learn, any sort of goals that you had in mind that you're looking to be able to take back home with you. I'm happy to help.
Yeah, definitely. That's actually a good idea. So if you can, in the chat box, why don't you share some of the things you something that you like about it? Do you have any questions? We've definitely been I'm trying to answer questions as we've come up, but I'm curious to think what your impressions of it so far. Okay. So why don't we do that? I thought feelings seem to be intuitive, both great. Yeah. That's awesome. Yeah, so for me, I envision using it for small groups. It'll be very easy for me. Definitely student engagement. Yeah, and it's all about, one of the things you did, I remember a couple weeks ago, was about Student Voice Day. And
Okay.
Can you talk about that? It was Student Voice Day, I remember.
Yes, Student Voice Day was an incredible initiative started by some of our other Buncee ambassador friends, Michael Drezick, as well as Flipgrid. And so in this instance, our platform was on, I'm really honored to be able to see it, but our platform was used by students to actually share their voice. And this sort of theme that they had this year, it was to show their gratitude for anyone or anything that they are really grateful for this period. Is there anything I could expand upon for that?
No, I want you to talk about that, because I saw one of the comments was about student engagement, and it's all about, I think that's one of the great things about Buncee is that it's.
Oh, I see. Sorry, I
Yeah,
thought you meant Student Voice Day specifically. Yeah,
yeah.
so
What better way
in
than go on? Sorry.
no, go ahead. What I was saying is that, so Jim has shared awesome examples of how educators have been able to use Buncee to create interactive content to share it out to your students or at the same time to potentially your parents. But really at its heart, Buncee is really simple for kids, literally as young as kindergartners and as I mentioned before, to those that are as old as post-secondary students. So the benefit of Buncee with your students is that all of the information is really in one place, just as Marina had mentioned. So all of the media items are there. Secondly, all of them are actually very safe. So they're education focused, whether that's a sticker, the animations that you see, or any of the other graphics that are available. So including the 3D graphics, at the same time, all of the videos that you have. So they're filtered, they're also Creative Commons licensed, so you don't have to worry about your students, pulling something from the web that you're not comfortable with, especially with all the different copyright issues. And so Buncee has been really used by students to really just get engaged, become content creators in themselves. And then some of the benefits of that is that, especially for, let's say, younger students, it's really built their confidence because of the ease of use. And at the same time, it's just a powerful way for them to just express their thoughts, their ideas, what they've learned. So that's really where we kind of mesh well with the community, is definitely to support our students, but at the same time, definitely blessed to be able to have a great hand in supporting our teachers and administrators too as they create their work. I hope that helped.
No, it definitely did. And like I keep saying, that's one of the reasons why I reached out to, because I know I did a couple things where this kind of whole started was I showed it to a couple of New York City phys teachers last week, the last 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
And someone had posted something about GIFs and Bitmojis and Animojis on, I think it was NFL, and that's how this kind of whole thing started. I was like, you know what, I love Buncee so much. I really think that, because a lot of people were like, oh, I kind of know about Buncee, but I've never actually been able to dive into it. So that's kind of where this whole thing started. And within a couple of days and a week, you got back to me and said, let's do it, which was
awesome. So I know we definitely covered a lot here. So there's the Buncee creation component, there's the sharing component, there's the sending Buncee out as an assignment, there's the fact that it also works with Google Classroom. So with all of these different things, the question is, where do I start, right? So where I do recommend you all to get started, honestly, is exactly where you see that blue button, Ideas Lab, on the top right-hand corner. So Jim, if you don't mind just clicking back to it.
Stop sharing thing?
No, share the Ideas Lab button.
Oh,
yeah. So once you log into your account, you access Ideas Lab. So the power behind Ideas Lab, because I know that some of you might actually not be a phys ed educator in this call, but the power of Ideas Lab is that it's a great place for you to get started in terms of inspiration of how to use Buncee for different subject areas or for different grade levels. And so as you scroll down, what you'll notice is that this is actually content that's not just created by the Buncee team inspired by our educators, but also curated from educators themselves. And so you'll be able to see how folks are actually integrating it into their learning practice. And then the beauty of it too is, just as Jim had mentioned before too, is that as you click on them, some of them are actually tabbed already. So let's say that you love the idea, you think it's a great potential lesson or activity that you want to maybe bring back to your students. You'll be able to press create this and it'll bring it back to your account and you'll be able to get started immediately. So that's one of the awesome things. And now I know that we're all hitting into the summer season here. And so a lot of the big questions is, how do we again get engaged with my students all throughout the summer, or, sort of kind of prevent that summer slide from happening? And so I just wanted to share one thing is that, Jim, if you don't mind just clicking on the filter by topic area on the left-hand panel. Yeah, so we actually added these different categories. So this is how I mentioned where you'll be able to see different subject areas or topic areas, if you will, of how to be able to bring Buncee or use Buncee for those different reasons. Now, if you go all the way down to the S for summer. Yep. So once you click on summer, so I recommend you all heading here, especially now that school's about to be out of session. So all of these are just different activities that you could share with your students to get them engaged. Let's say that you're not sure if they're allowed to go out still in their different communities across the US or wherever you are, maybe globally, but you'll be able to use these activities, share it with your students, and it'll be a great way for them to get engaged and also still maintain that learning. And so let's say that if you do want to kick off Buncee for your next fall semester, they'll be able to get on, they're already creating, and you don't have to start from scratch with them. So these are some awesome resources that you have available to you for the summer season especially. But yeah, Ideas Lab is such a great way I would recommend for you to start, because as all of the different ideas, you'll see all of the different ways you could bring it, but at the same time, across different subject areas and also grade levels.
Thank you. So yeah, so
Mhm.
Ida, thank you. I appreciate that because I've been making my own content. So it's nice to know that I haven't really been able to dive into the summer, but it definitely looking at first glance, and I love that there's a summer kind of tab. I can't wait to look at the App Smash one.
Mhm.
Ooh, because I'm all about app smashing, and if you've never heard the term before, it's kind of taking, like when we keep mentioning Buncee and all these other, you take Buncee and you use another component like Flipgrid, and I just think those are fun because it kind of takes the best of both and it kind of makes it. You want to talk about engaging, super highly engaging.
Mhm.
But no, but thank you, Rita. Yeah, and the great thing about it is that it's being like an ambassador for Buncee. It's a lot of this, all this content is, and thank you, Rita, for qualifying that. This was made not just by the Buncee team. This was made by other teachers like myself from all across America and all across, and there's lots of different Buncee. And if you are curious about them, staff picks, there's PD and training, there's the blog, there's the features. Like I said, it's what makes me rant and rave about Buncee is that it's always that it's it's very for teachers, and they always keep making it for teachers. I had a comment I wanted to qualify. So someone was asking me about if I had a professional, like a physics group. There's different learning communities in New York City, so that's what I meant by. So I don't have a professional group per se myself. I do go on Twitter, so I'm Jim in the Gym PE. You can find me on Twitter, but you can also find different like Shape. You could find Buncee on Twitter; they're very active. Shape America. You can find different, like in New York State. There's also New York State AFERD, New York City AFERD, all kinds of things. And there's lots of, pretty much any day you go, you can find something on Twitter. So if you're looking for that, Twitter is a great place. And a lot of the resources are really good because they're from highly educated and just like teachers like myself who want to just share. And so I don't ever, just to reiterate that, because now that question came, I wanted to clarify that. Like we have in New York City our own boroughs that we have different like learning, like there's a Bronx physics community. So once you Flipgrid or class, I can certainly do. Okay, I can certainly do that. Okay, so let me process loading the file from Buncee to Flipgrid or Google Classroom. I can certainly do that. All right, just give me a second because I have like 47,000 tabs open. Okay, so I go to my Flipgrid. I've been really enjoying using Flipgrid because there's also a lot of physics content. And if I go to my educator login, okay, thank you for bearing with me. Okay, so pretty much, so as you can see, I've been using it. So I really want to, I want to make a Flipgrid. I want to make a Google Classroom assignment. So I go to the email, sorry, not the email, the code. Now it's copied into my clipboard. Now, let me just, for the argument, just make a new grid. So what I'm going to do, sample, email. If you're not familiar with Flipgrid, I know this is supposed to be a Buncee, so I hope you don't mind, but I know I got in, so it's okay. So if you're not familiar, Flipgrid is really good because it's almost like, I want to say TikTok, educational TikTok, because it also has the same kind of, so I have my setup. So now when I go here, there's a whole topic, and then there's like little subtopics. And so now I want to edit the question. So I go here, I go to, let me close this a second. I want to edit the topic. And it takes a few seconds, but It's over here with the focus. If I don't really want to keep that anymore. I want to delete the focus. Now I wanted to add it. If you click down over here, it's just for Buncee. Boom. And it's right there. So that way, so I update my topic. So now, if I wanted to say hello, and say if I wanted to make it more phys relevant, I could say, make a video of how you're going to stay active at home, for example. Take a click on it, and now it's linked to the Buncee, so they can refer to the original, and they can go back and forth. So they go, wait, I forgot what that was, and now they could look at it, and that's how you do it. And it's right there, and it's only has 2 views. The same kind of feature on Google Classroom, where if you want to go to, let me see if I can do it. Oh boy. Let me see. While this is all loading.
Jim.
Yes.
Just by the way, you could also share direct from Buncee to Google Classroom if you want to share that.
Yes.
That way you don't have to worry about going to the other tabs.
Thank you.
No worries. That's why I'm here. But yeah, once you create your Buncee, you hit the share button, that orange button, and then when you head to social, on that tab.
Thank you.
You'll see the Google.
I forgot how to do it. So
no worries.
No, you can skip. You can do the steps I was about to do, but if you want to, if you click on this little green guy, this will take you to your Google Classroom. Well, this is my Gmail. It's under a different account, but you would be able to go to you would be able to make a material, an announcement on Google Classroom, and it would be right there.
Yep, it'll ask you if you want to create the class material as usual, the assignment, the announcement, and then you'll be able to post it right there. And so I actually just dropped a link to our Discover Buncee playlist. So each of those contain different small clips, about like 1.5 minute clips to, potentially about 2 minutes. They walk you through each of the features. So if you want to go dive into the Google Classroom parts, it's actually in that playlist too.
Wow. Oh my goodness, it's almost 1 o'clock. Well, so I'm going to leave another minute or two for some questions. I know I went over a lot of content. I know Ida and Buncee team are happy to help. You can always reach out to me on Twitter, Jim in the Gym PE, or JP Hambel. I'll send my email. I'll be more than happy to answer on Twitter, Hambel. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to either one of us. And I really want to say thank you for coming and thank you for staying with us today. And my last remark that I would say is try it out. Yeah, thank you, Phil. Yeah, try it out. And I'm sure, thank you, Michael. Yeah, and I'm glad I had a chance to. Thank you, Ida, and thank you, Buncee, for allowing me this opportunity. And thank you, Marie.
Yeah, thank you everyone for tuning in. Really appreciated your time. If you have any questions at all, feel free to reach me. I dropped my email here. It's idac@buncee.com. Happy to help, walk you through how to sign up if you're confused there, how to set up your student accounts, or create in general. So just feel free to drop me an email. Happy to help.
Thanks
so much for joining us, Jim. I really appreciate it.
Oh, no, thank you. I'm going to stop recording.